I was just wondering, have they disconnected the piano and have all that stuff gone? Because I had a thought. I was wondering, I came to, okay, my name is Bittu Sahgal. I edit a magazine called Sanctuary, and I'm a professional fighter of losing battles. I came to Coimbatore not particularly happy because I'm a born happy guy, optimist, but I've had it knocked out of me. The stuffing has been knocked out of me. Just 3 days ago in our building, there was a banyan tree with roots that I had seen like small trellises, and now they'd gone into the ground and they were this thick. And I came home one day, they were cut in half. I said, why did you cut this? Why did you cut this? I mean, I've been watching it for 2.5 years and now you cut it. Rats grow in banyan tree roots. So people didn't like rats, so they cut the roots. Now the point is this, when somebody describes violence and somebody describes human rights, it's a very simple thing that your right to swing your fist stops at the point of my jaw. You can keep doing this everywhere, but you can't touch me. The trouble with the battles that I'm fighting is everything seems to touch me. It touches you, it touches our children, it touches everybody. If I was to bring a smoke machine here, not one of those that actually is used for films, but a real awful smoke machine here, and everybody started coughing. And I said, look, I bought this smoke machine in Africa and I must be able to use it and I have the right, but I've abused all your rights. That is actually at the heart of the battles we are fighting. I got some slides to share. We don't have to see these slides, but sometimes I think our lives are so far removed from reality, it just helps sometimes. I must tell you this, Anil, and I mean, you guys, I listened to this last session and suddenly there was a spring in my step and I said, chalo, things are not so bad after all, at the end of the day, we're going to win, we will win. Because we have nature on our side, like a cut or a wound on your body which heals itself. You can put Dettol or whatever you want, but chances are, unless you're mortally wounded, this cell and that cell will get together and they'll repair themselves, And nature is exactly the same way. While somebody is deforesting it, a butterfly is coming and planting, and Karadi will come and he'll eat so much fruit, and with a big piece of shit, with all the seeds inside, new trees will come up from there. That's the way of the world. That's how it happened. With all respect, I have to tell everybody who's part of CII, I have to tell Montek Singh Aluwali, I have to tell Dr. Manmohan Singh, we were born into this Garden of Eden. We didn't go out there and plant it. Every piece of music, every art, every dance, every philosophy, every religion came from nature. If we kill the source of our inspiration, what do we have left? That is actually at the heart of this, These cliches, it's the only planet we have, etc., is one thing. It's possible for people to argue. I mean, I'm not some kind of a dictator who says that, no, you have to wear only that white, thing on your shoulder. You can't wear the brown. It's not my job to tell you that. But there is something that we have to do in a room like this. I can't get out over here and start abusing you and breaking things because I'm breaking the rules. Now, you can argue with me that this rule or that rule or who made the rule, but that planet's rules, you can't break. You can't break. It's not negotiable. You can go to Copenhagen and you can negotiate a million things. In fact, I'd like to start by saying Copenhagen was a failure foretold because we went with the wrong ambitions, we asked the wrong questions, we came back with the wrong answers. The reasons we went there was, America, you guys are putting so much carbon into the atmosphere. India, we have a right to develop, and therefore, the fact is 300% coal-fired thermal plant capacity is going up. The fact is we are building 300,000 crore rupees worth of dams in the Himalaya when the glaciers are melting. When we start asking for the right to destroy that planet the way they did, we are dead and doomed. We have to change something. I've got about Have I got 15 or 17 minutes or so? How much time do I have before the red light comes on, somebody? So I'll pace myself. 18 minutes, okay. So please keep the raw eggs handy. I will try to finish this within the 18-minute span. Let's move on. Do I move it from here? Yeah? And where do I point it? Okay. That was what was missing in Copenhagen. When Gandhi actually helped to throw the British out, he didn't ask for iodized salt. He never asked for supply of salt. He asked for the right to make salt. What we were perceived as asking for was money and the right to do the wrong thing. That was the perception. Believe me, our carbon footprint is so low, 1 point something compared to America's 19, that any moral stand we take is fine. But morality doesn't exist. Nature has nothing to do with morality, nothing. It does not judge you, it does not say you're good, it does not say you're bad. It just gives you consequences. You do this, it does that. You do this, it does that. And Gandhi said that the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing is enough to solve most of the problems in the world. And that was so apparent in Copenhagen. It's a beautiful world. Every one of us, we are so lucky to be living at this point in history. It's the most exciting time in human history. The fact is, it is an utterly, absolutely, astoundingly brilliant, beautiful world. Every time you have a headache, be grateful for the fact that you can at least sense the headache. These are the senses we were given. What we see up over here, the Himalaya, the newest mountains in the world, scientists and bureaucrats and developers and oil producers and all have started taking some small, they made an error, you know, they said by 2035 these glaciers will melt. And the world went into complete twists, and it turned into jalebis, to try and say this means, because they said it was 2035, that climate change is a hoax, and it was not true. The story I'm telling you is actually about the tiger. But the fact is that the tiger is a metaphor for all of nature, and unless we are able to get to understand that if we leave no space for the tiger and no space for the bear and no space for the elephant, we will have nothing left for ourselves either. The glaciers are melting. How fast they melt, we don't know. But a quarter of humanity is not going to be able to find enough water to live. We are not going to be able to find our immune systems capable of tackling the problems that arise. This animal is a snow leopard. It's caught between the devil and the deep sea, figuratively. The conifers are rising, the junipers are retreating, its prey base is going, it lives in the Himalaya, it has no place to go. It is the symbol of a dying planet. But what a planet we have. Jungle, nadi ki maa hai. That's what they used to say, that the forest is the mother of the river. This predates Hinduism, it predates Islam, all the Abrahamic religions. Wherever there were forests, there was fresh water. Now, by ignoring the fact that nature had created a conspiracy for life, what we are doing is we are behaving like monkeys in the cockpit of a 747 flying at 35,000 feet. What happens with this? Let's press this thing. Oh, suppose we open this thing. What happens? Let's pull this lever. This is not the way to run a planet. At least respect it. We are never in our lifetimes going to fully understand it. But when you see that it's going right on autopilot for a while, everything is all right, it's going fine, don't tamper with it. These bracket fungi are critical to the breakdown of nutrients. The trees literally feed themselves, whether it's here or the starling in Africa or the wetlands that people are filling up with. Chennai, my God, if you look at Chennai or you look at Coimbatore, you look at the water harvesting structures of South India. They were high technology. It was a way in which the rain that fell was captured by these forests, by these lakes. It was used. There were social structures. You could not pee into this lake, into this water, because it was going to be drunk. There were rules. We listened to them because listening to them was life. Today, By ripping up places like these, what we're doing is we're going into an ICU and pulling out the heart-lung machine, pulling out the monitors, and saying, oh my God, why is the patient getting more and more ill? That little dot you see on the right of the screen, you know, if there were even fewer lights, I'd be so happy. You'd be able to see those pictures better. If you do have the control, just dim the lights completely. That little dot you see there is an elephant. Those are the scales. This is Corbett National Park. That's the scale at which nature wants us to give it space to live. Everything has a purpose. I actually have given up on my generation. You know, I work now with children between the ages of 10 and 12, and now I've been doing it for 10 years, so they're about 20 years old. And I ask them a question, can you tell me any creature on the entire world that has no purpose or that creates waste that cannot be used? There is no creature on earth. There is no such thing called W-A-S-T-E. The concept does not exist in nature. We're the only animal that knows how to create waste. Everything here, these turtles will actually consume all the dead material, everything. Whale sharks, I mean, they are there outside, just off our coasts, you know. If we don't appreciate these things, I mean, any economist will tell you that if you undervalue an asset, then you're destined to lose it. Which brings me to the tiger. I make no apology for the fact that this is an animal that I find, when I've seen them so many times in the wild, my heart starts beating, my pulse goes up, I feel excited, I feel happy, I feel all those things, but the reason I'm asking for it to be saved now is not that. In the forests of these tigers, every seed that falls, which may start out as a 1-gram seed and grows to a 20-ton tree, by dry weight it's 50% carbon. So that 10 tons, that 1-gram seed has actually snatched 10 tons of carbon out of the atmosphere, and it has sequestered and stored it back in the forest. That is what technocrats are running around the world trying to tell us, that trillions of dollars spent on geoengineering, we'll send something up into space, it will reflect the sunlight, it will do this, it will do that. The fact is, if we just allow nature's systems to come back, the corals, the mangroves, the mudflats, the grasslands, the forests, the deserts, the Himalayan slopes, all these are the instruments by which nature actually moderates climate. What you're seeing here is a representative of the biosphere. The atmosphere was created by the biosphere. These are the two skins on our planet. All life exists in a small little skin around our planet. That skin extends to the bottom of the sea. And then again, you have the second skin on top, which is our atmosphere. Now, if somebody flayed the skin off your hand, trust me, the inside of your heart will probably collapse. And that's what we are doing right now. We are tampering with the skin of our planet in both ways. And that's likely to cause us a lot of grief. There we are, okay. When I fight to give that tiger space to hunt, it's not just my spirit I'm feeding. It's not just the creativity of art and culture that I'm feeding. I'm actually asking that the planet's mechanisms of survival are allowed to continue without being trashed. We cannot sell this family silver. This is not for sale. We've sold a lot of it. And I heard earlier today that we want a 12% GDP growth and we want a 15%. Why go into that? I'm saying just 4% GDP growth. If you want 4% GDP growth, I want one economist somewhere in the world to get together with one scientist somewhere in the world and tell me that this is sustainable forever. Because we only have two things. We have the biosphere and we have the technosphere. If the biosphere expands, it's got to expand. The technosphere expands, it's got to expand only at the cost of the biosphere. So I want to know how these dreams of growth can be sustained. I'm not an economist. I'm not one of the clever guys who knows everything about the inner workings of how economies run. But I know this, I know this, that climate change is going to make a mockery of India's economy, and it will make a mockery of America's economy before ours. Because if we remove the